Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is A Conversation in Jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. Today, we are presenting part 2 of our interview with the wonderful drummer, songwriter, and producer, Mr. Eddie Holman III. We ask you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology101. That's $Jazzology101. Enjoy the video. Okay, we're back. This is A Conversation in Jazz, and we're talking to my homeboy, Mr. Eddie Holman III. Brother Eddie, man, some good stuff on the first part.
Oh yeah.
Now we're gonna go a little deeper on some of your history, man. You had a lot of people don't know, but as you're a drummer, wonderful drummer, and you're a double amputee.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that fateful accident that ultimately cost you your first leg, and share that story with us.
Oh man, this is called Phantom Pain. Can you stand the rain? What happened? That always haunts me.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to do that damn gig in the first fucking place.
Wow.
What happened?
Who were you playing with?
I was doing the blues open mic with my boy Richard Tucker, and I was subbing for him.
And you're fully healthy. Your career is
fully healthy. What made me mad was I was doing a clinic in the session, and I was waiting for my main check to cash and those checks to cash because I had bills to pay. And the only reason why I did it, because that gig paid cash and I was in danger of having my water interrupted. And I had just gave him $300 the month before, so I don't see how that could happen. And I didn't break nothing, the agreement. So this is on a Sunday. I come in from the parking lot into the loading door, and they had a stage where the musicians set up at. They had stairs made out of cement, which I thought were mounted. Didn't know they weren't mounted. I slipped and fell.
Wow.
And I broke my ankle and I broke my fibula and tibula. But me being a diabetic, I didn't really feel the pain. I played the gig.
With a broke?
It was my left foot.
Wow.
Hi-hat.
And you couldn't tell?
A little bit. But I played the gig, and my ankle was like swollen like this. So I kept putting ice on it. So I went to the water company Monday morning, wobbling and shit. Come to find out, I had a $300 credit. I said, ain't this a bitch? I could postpone this.
Yeah.
So it was on time anyways. I took it because my sons were young at the time. And they teenagers eat. So I went and got some extra groceries until I could go regular grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve comes up. And I'm going to tell y'all something important. And I'm going to let all my pride down. And I ain't ashamed to say this. At that time, I didn't have medical insurance. Let's put on bullshit. I didn't have medical insurance. I was going to the free clinic. So my wife said, baby, you got to have this looked at. This don't look good. So we go up in the Northeast on Cotton Avenue in Philadelphia to District 10, which was to me one of the best ones in the city because they always took care of me. They gave me my medicine, they prescriptions, anything I need. So they get me in the X-ray, and the technician takes the X-ray. Then the other one reads it, and the lady that read it, she said, "Damn, he broke the shit out his shit." I was like, "Ooh." She said, "Baby, I gotta write you a referral. You gotta go to Temple Sports Medicine." So they take me to Temple Sports Medicine, where they work on all the athletes, like the Eagles, Phillies, and all them guys. Them guys looked at it. He said, "Look, man, what you doing tomorrow, Christmas?" "Something be with my family, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Look, spend time with your family. The next day, have your ass here." I got there. They did the surgery. They put screws and plates in that area to try to, because all the bones were crushed. They had to put them on plates. So they did that. Stayed in the hospital for a few days. I came home. And I came home with a wound vac because I had a big scar open when they took the bones out. Well, they said, "Look, we're going to have a home nurse come to your crib for a week to dress this, give you heparin, make sure you don't get blood clots, and make sure you don't get infection." So they did that. Going into the second week, she said, "If your temperature goes past 99, come straight to the emergency." And that happened. My wife took me in emergency. They got me in the room right away. And they said, "Look, we want to take this hardware out." So I had a gig coming up that weekend. I said, "Well, I'll be out of here by like the weekend." "Man, you won't be out of here for about another 35 days.
Wow.
So I got a blood infection. I had to get 5 blood transfusions. They had to sew a PICC line in my bicep, which administered antibiotics 24 hours a day for 35 days straight.
Wow.
Then they took, everything out the leg, and the leg started to heal. I go home. I was able to play a gig or two after a while. Then one day, around February, about the Super Bowl, I went to my mother's because my father was out of town. She wanted me to stay with her with the Super Bowl. So we watched all the Nutty Professors in the Super Bowl. And then I stayed on her sofa from 11 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, not move once. She was worried. My father called from Germany.
You said you stayed on the sofa?
Yeah.
You couldn't get up?
No, I was too weak. I had an infection. And my dad was in Germany, and he called. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" She said, "Eddie, our son is real sick. I'm scared." So she called my wife. Eddie's getting ready to walk to the car, to the van. Got in the van, and I sat in the van a half hour. Drove home. Sat out my house a half hour. Got in the house. My wife said, "I'm so glad you got an appointment tomorrow, because you don't look good." So I drive up the Temple drive-thru,
self-parking, parking, where they pick you, valet. Then they park my van. They wheel me in a chair up to my appointment. When I get back there, my ankle was this big.
Wow.
The doctor did this. Indentation went in like a 50-cent piece. And I went, and then Mrs. Butterworth syrup started running all out my leg.
Miss who?
Butterworth syrup.
Miss Butterworth syrup?
Like it was like syrup.
Wow.
That's the infection.
Wow.
So they immediately got that squared away, and they put me down in admissions. Got me a room, got me situated. And I never forget, my son was working with my wife, and he had to leave his car there. She had to drive him, leave his car at the job. He had to drive my truck home. Mm-hmm. And they told me, man, that I had an infection. So they got that squared away. Then when they did the operation to get everything out, the next morning, I couldn't breathe. My oxygen point went all the way down to 5.
You couldn't breathe?
No. And when I woke up from overnight, I had to sit on my back and sleep. When I woke up, I only had like 5% oxygen. And we heard this thing. Rapid response in room such and such, right? And everybody on that floor ran in my room, and they rolled me right into ICU. The mask with oxygen. I wore oxygen in ICU, man. 3 days and couldn't sleep.
What?
I couldn't sleep for 3 days.
Wow. Did that help with the oxygen?
Mm-hmm. When they did the chest X-ray, you couldn't even see my lungs.
Because of infection?
No, because of pneumonia.
Oh, you was having pneumonia.
I had double pneumonia.
Wow.
And they couldn't even see my lungs.
This is in addition
my
to...
lungs were white clouds.
Wow.
So, I used to teach at this school on 5th Street in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And one of my students, his father was my RN. And they had to put a catheter in me. I couldn't go to the bathroom. They don't have bathrooms in ICU. And couldn't sleep for 3 days. At night, they gave me a Benadryl. That helped me relax and sleep. But what they didn't know, with me can't sleeping, what they didn't know, I had undiagnosed sleep apnea.
Okay.
So I stopped breathing, and I went into a 4-day coma.
Wow.
And when I woke up, I had no idea I lost 4 days.
You had no idea you lost 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So when I woke up, the first face I saw was my Aunt Sandra, mm-hmm. my grandmother, Bill Douglas, and a couple of other people that mm-hmm. taught with me at the school, mm-hmm. and my parents. And I saw my father in a rare position that I never saw. He had tears coming out of his eyes.
Wow.
So I knew something went down major. So as soon as I saw everybody, they pulled this giant tube out my throat. So I said, okay. I tried to move my arms. My arms were in restraints. So they cut the restraints off. So when I moved my arm, it was like, boom, boom, like heavy weight in slow motion. When they ripped the covers off me, man, my arms were double the size. My legs were double the size. My testicles were like Wilson basketballs. I had a
barrel deli pickle. I mean, I swole up. I'm normally like, at that time, was maybe like 203. I swole up to like 360.
Wow.
I was huge. And the doctors come in and said, Mr. Holman, I had some bad news. You want to follow up, because I had MRSA as well. You want to follow up with an infectious disease doctor. You're going to have to follow up with a nephrologist, kidney doctor. You're going to have to follow up with a rheumatologist. You're going to have to follow up with a psychologist. I had to follow up with all these specialists because I was jacked. And I remember overhearing them talking to my mother. Mrs. Holman, do you have burial insurance? Because I don't think you're going to make it. They didn't think I was going to live.
Wow.
And my wife, my pit bull come through, set shit straight.
Wife came in and set things straight, huh?
She came in and said, look, he came in here for a leg operation to get some shit clean. Came in here totally normal and healthy. I don't know what the fuck y'all did. Fix him. Fix my motherfucking husband, or I'm fucking everybody up.
Wow.
And that's how it went. And they got they shit together, fixed me, and I went home, and everything been cool. Except this February, when I caught that goddamn COVID and almost died.
Wow. But when did you find out you had to get your leg amputated?
Well, this is February. I kept having a lot of pain. So I went to a specialist. Said, look, man, I can't take this shit no more. What can we do? He said, man, you can either take this medicine called Avalox, or you can get an amputation. I took Avalox for a whole year since the following May. Mother's Day weekend. They said, dude, you're going to have your shit amputated. If you don't, the infection was there, but it would have been all the way up here if I hadn't got it amputated, so it stopped it. So we did that, and I never forget the day I got my leg amputated, because that weekend was Mother's Day weekend, and I cried, and after I cried, I never cried again about it. And when I got it amputated, I never forget the day, because Michael Jackson, Lee Majors, and Farrah Fawcett died that day.
What, it was that day?
That day. I came out of recovery and got in my room, and I loved that room, man. That was a hospital. I had a suite.
Yeah.
And my grandmother cut the news on, the 5 o'clock news, and found out about all them people dying. I was like, wow. I love Michael, I love Farrah Fawcett, and I love the Bionic Man.
Wow.
And the other guy died too. The dude that did the what's that cleaning solution that washes white shirts? The real animated guy. You still see it till this day.
Really?
You know
It
what I
ain't
mean?
gonna come to me.
Oxys.
Okay.
The Oxy commercial dude.
Yeah.
He died that day too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was grooving for a while. Once they told me it was going to take 9 weeks to heal. I healed in 6. They measured me for a prosthesis. Guy came over. When I had my chest prosthesis, I walked around my whole dining room 3 times. Then the lady came. I went into rehab, walked out of my van, had him park it, got on the elevator, and ran into Lisa Robinson, who passed away from COVID last year.
Wow.
And my instructor was on lunch break and saw me get out my van. So I'm sitting on the bed waiting, coming, well, who's the new patient? Who's Eddie Holman? I said, me. He said, I saw you walk in and you look like you walk pretty well.
Wow.
So he showed me some things that I didn't know, like how to do the steps better and how to maneuver. And I was in rehab for 2 weeks. He said, look, man, I'm releasing you. You wasting your insurance company money. Then I started gigging, and everything been cool.
Wow.
Ever since that, and I was good.
So you went back to gigging after having your
Mm-hmm.
your leg? Wow. Now, was there any marked change in your plan? Like, did you?
No. Actually, I played better.
Yeah. And you know what? You did my album, my funk album.
Yeah, my feel got better.
Yeah, you did my funk album, and your
Yeah.
leg. That's when your leg was amputated, right?
Yep.
Wow.
My feel got better, man. I got more
Yeah.
of that stuff,
Wow.
as Bernard Purdie used to say.
Yeah.
And then I moved that fall
To Delaware.
to Delaware. That I moved in my house October, Halloween Day, 2009.
Okay.
And I got tickled, man, because see down Dollar with Delaware, you know, they big into the Halloween and all that, you know, the kids because of the country. Little kids came to my house, and I had this neighbor, man, you know, it was rather attractive that lived across the back, had a bunch of kids, and she was dressed like a cop.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids said, ooh, he's RoboCop, look at his leg.
Wow, kids are rough, man.
Man, I said, yeah, I'm RoboCop.
Yeah.
Start being animated and shit.
Yeah.
doing
Oh,
RoboCop
wow.
shit. And they loved it, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it don't bother me.
Yeah.
Like, my wife and I have jokes. She teased me. He said, you're the worst first hip-hop producer. You
Man,
know, when I piss her off
Yeah.
and ask, look, go get me such and such. Go hop your ass over there and get it your damn self, man.
Oh God. That's
Damn,
cool.
she get real mad when I fuck with her. Because I have my legs next to my bed, and she'll throw them under the bed. Now crawl your ass under there and get them. Just smart ass mouth.
Oh Lord. So, wow. Now, so you were able to stabilize things pretty much for a while, and then
Man, look, I used to be able to load my drums in and out of the van on a big giant ass cart, and I was rolling. I was ready.
Yeah.
Where the gigs at and shit.
yeah. And
And I did that as long as I could. And then, like, I would play locally in Delaware. Like, there was a club there that your boy had.
oh yeah, Linwood. Yeah.
Shady Boots.
Yeah.
He had a club there, and I would play the clubs and, you know, play with different people. I would come back to Philly and help some people out that I liked, or I'd do sessions for people I liked, like yourself and
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
And then started getting a lot of pain in my right foot, and I noticed I would have to take extra oomph to hit the bass pedal. So I paid the Independent Films Academy Awards. That was the last gig I did. That was the day before my 50th birthday.
Wow.
So my mother had, not my wife has a dance company called First State Steppers in Delaware. And, you know, we all friends. So my wife said, why don't you have your band, I'm renting a hall for your 50th birthday, why don't you have the band play for your birthday party? So I reluctantly did it because I didn't want to do it because of the pain I was in, but I did it anyway. And I did it, and that turned out to be the worst birthday
Wow.
in my life.
Really? Why?
Because I normally don't wear shoes. I wore shoes, and it just made my legs swell. So this is like the first week of May that went down. At the end of May, it was Mother's Day. I went out for breakfast. And when I came home, I told my wife, you know, I'm going to take you out for dinner for Mother's Day. So I got out of my bed. As soon as my feet landed on the floor, I collapsed. And I had to crawl out of my bed into the hallway, and I had to scoot down the steps on my butt. And I had my sons put me in a wheelchair, and they took me to emergency. And I said, "What's wrong with me?" So they said, "Look, we can't tell you right now, but tomorrow we're going to get you an appointment with the sports medicine people." But before they did that, they took some blood, and they said, "Yo, man, you got infection in your blood. We don't know if it's in your foot yet." So sports medicine told me basically the bones in my feet had collapsed. He said basically it collapsed and turned into putty. And I remember when I was going to my podiatrist, he said there's something going on in your body where your bones and your feet are separating.
Wow.
And he should have told me then what was going on, but he didn't. And because there was something going on in my body, I couldn't take legal action. That was a hurt piece. So my bones and my feet had collapsed in that foot. So I was in the house. I got put in the hospital in November, end of November, because they did my surgery the day before Thanksgiving, and my parents had came up and they bought me like these real cool Thanksgiving sandwiches, and we all had Thanksgiving dinner in my room because it was such a small space. Mm-hmm. So we got everything on a sandwich. And then the next day, they amputated my right leg.
Your other leg?
Yeah, my right leg. And I became a W amputee, and I stayed in a wheelchair 9 months.
Let me ask you, you ever get mad at God?
No.
No.
People say, why me? I say, why not me? Because, man, no matter what journey you have in this life, everybody in this life, this is another lesson that you got to remember. Everybody in life goes through adversity, but differently, number one. Number two, everybody has an assignment. Mm-hmm. And your assignment is what your assignment is. Your assignment is not Tony's assignment. Your assignment is not Bob's assignment. Mm-hmm. So you got to
man up to your thing.
Man up to your assignment.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you were put here for, your assignment. Yeah.
So are you a religious person or more of a spiritual?
No, I'm spiritual. I'm not faith and I'm not spiritual. I'm not religious and I'm not faith. I'm spiritual.
Okay.
Because faith don't amount to nothing, and neither does religion.
Mm-hmm. So how have you handled? And then you take dialysis, right?
Yes. My kidneys got killed through all this junk. Wow. I've been on dialysis for 10 years now.
Wow. Now, this is the opportunity. You want to play drums. You still want to play your drums.
Yes, sir.
And you would try to find a way that somebody can create something?
I want to hook up with John Hopkins robotic engineering departments to try to create, because what made me interested in that was watching YouTube. Uh-huh. And I looked up amputees playing drums. And they had a guy who lost his left hand. He was a commercial electrical engineer. Mm-hmm. And he got shocked. And he lost his left hand. So what he would do, once he got his prosthetic hand, mm-hmm. he would take electrical duct tape and wrap the stick around the hand, and he would go play gigs like rock and roll.
Wow.
And somebody saw that on YouTube and contacted him, like these engineers and scientists. So what they did was they built him a iPod-looking device that had a cord that was connected to his hand, and it allowed him to move his fingers and hand like a normal hand. And the device transmitted on brain pulses because he wore these kind of earphones.
Wow.
And he could move his hand. Now, what was so amazing, he could play press rolls and rolls faster than he ever could, or anybody. So now he's playing again. I want somebody to create a device that will allow me to move an ankle function and do the same as on brain impulses as his hand. Now, if I could do that, ain't nobody gonna have no gigs. Take them off.
Wow, man, and hopefully, man, somebody can, as fate would have it, somebody can hear this and come up with something like that. Wow, man, whew. I don't know how.
Look, I've been through more adversity than somebody that's been through in 3 lives.
Yeah,
I'm going through it, but I'm gonna get to it.
yeah. Now, has that affected your music? Like, I know you.
Well, sometimes every August I go through phases of depression. And when that happens, that kind of slows down my creativity. See, you got to keep yourself spiritually happy, and you got to keep yourself. You got to keep depression under control, because you can't create depressed.
Yeah.
And
so you still have your passion for music.
I have, man. My passion is more. Even when I'm depressed, man, in back of my mind, I'm gonna get you. It's like a girl you like. She don't hook you up right away, but you be like, I'm gonna get you. That's my music.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Have you tried to play drums?
I can play, but it's a little awkward. Even when you practice, it just doesn't feel totally natural.
Gotcha. You still got your hands, paradiddles and all that? No?
My hands are completely gone. I need surgery. I have severe nerve damage from my wrists to my elbows, and I have severe carpal tunnel. Look, sometimes it's hard to even totally make a fist.
Wow.
If I get that together and that together.
Can you still play bass? Wow.
Look, Pro Tools and sound libraries have saved my ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, man. Now you also producer.
Yes. That's what I've been doing now. I'm mainly behind the lines, writing and producing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm getting ready to start a music company called the Holman Music Group, and get a label and get distribution and just. I want to be like the Black Herb Alfred, because Herb Alfred had an independent label, A&M, that was damn near as big as all the majors, and all the major artists he had. And when the award shows, he was kicking their butts.
Wow.
So I want to do that.
Yeah.
Independently.
Yeah. Talking about being an independent label, do you know any history on Philly International?
Man, I know the total history on Philly International.
Can you share some with us?
Well, Philly International was started by two brilliant dudes. One dude, both of them had musical talent. Leon Huff was the musical muscle, but Kenny Gamble was the brainchild. Kenny Gamble had the plan and knew how the business worked, because Kenny Gamble got his start, him and Tom Bell, they got their start with a gentleman named Jerry Ross. Mm-hmm. And Jerry Ross had them signed to like singing contracts. Mm-hmm. And Gamble and Jerry Ross wrote songs together. That's how Gamble learned the business about producing, points, publishing, and writers and all them things. So Kenny was Jerry Ross's prodigy. And like his son, he took care of him, taught him everything he knew. So Kenny got his first hit record because Kenny was also on the staff of a big Philadelphia company that was like the Philadelphia International of the day, called Cameo Parkway.
Okay.
So they had Chubby Checker, Dee Dee Sharp, the Dovells, Lynn Berry. They had the Dovells, Bunny Sigler, but they had this group called Candy and the Kisses, and they got a real big dance record on them called the 81.
Okay.
Went like 17 on the pop charts or something. Then Kenny started going up to New York with the Braille Building, and there was a publishing company in there called Hill and Range. So they would get tunes with them, and they would get them out on different artists. And then when Kenny started working, freelancing, like working with other people, Leon Huff was hooked on the Schubert Building, where the Academy of Music is next to that.
Yeah.
So he was hooked up with a company called Madeira and White, Double Diamond Publishing. So he was writing songs for that outfit. So they were writing songs for Cindy Scott. They were writing songs for Bunny Sigler. And they had record companies like Cameo. They had their own little imprint. They had Virtue Records. That, it's all these little independent labels in Philly. Jamie Guyton was the distributor for everybody, and Chips. So they would just write songs. So one day, Gamble walked in the building and went in the elevator, and he ran into Huff. And you don't really run into black people in that building. So he said, "Yo, my name's Kenny Gamble. I write songs and lyrics. I'm Huff. I write music, lyrics, and songs." So Gamble said, "Let's get together." So they got together over Cameo Parkway in Gamble's little practice room that he had as an office. And the first time they met, they wrote 10 songs at that first sitting.
Really?
And whenever they would write 10 songs a day, every day. And how they do it was, Gamble would take a reel-to-reel tape recorder and put the microphone on the piano and let it run all day. And they would talk about what's going on. Like, they would talk about current events, political situations. And they wrote, about childhood, and they wrote a hit called Cowboys to Girl. I remember when you had your baby coats, and I would play with my gun, shoot them up, bang, bang. I would beat the girls up, and now I say for loving. Cowboys to girls.
Wow.
So they got that, and that got them in the door. So they were supposed to sign a deal like Holland, Dozier Holland did for Motown, because Berry Gordy liked them.
Yeah.
So Berry gave them the paperwork. When they read over it, they like, nah, this is bullshit. We don't want to do this. Because Berry wanted all they publishing and wanted to control them.
Oh, so Berry was already established with Motown?
Yeah, Berry already had it, but Motown was like the shit.
Yeah, yeah.
At the time, the biggest thing around.
Yeah.
So Gamble wanted to do that. And he didn't want to be owned. So he put his... there was a clothing manufacturer in Philadelphia named Benny Crass Brothers,
yeah.
started stores. And a lot of songwriters worked there as jobs, selling clothes to be around the entertainment. So Benny always wanted to be a star. Mm-hmm. So he said, Gamble, will you produce me and write something for me? Gamble said, yeah, but here's the deal. I want to make a record. Give me $3,000. Lend me $3,000, and I'll do it. So Gamble did it and paid the money back with interest.
Wow.
And they put their first record out called I Gotta Be Strong. Mm-hmm. And it did decent locally, but somebody owned their name, Excel. So he changed the name to Gamble. And he put out maybe about 5 singles, then the first hit, Cowboy to Girls. And, Berry still wanted to know what they were up to. So Berry Gordy, he took one of their songs and he put it on the Supremes and the Temptations duet, and it became a #1 record called I'm gonna make you love me.
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
That was like
they wrote that.
Gamble and Huff wrote that. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
And they wrote another song called I Can't Stop Dancing for Archie Bell and the Drells.
Wow.
That was their second gold record. I'm Gonna Make You Love Me was their third one. And then they had their fourth one with Only the Strong Survive. Only the Strong.
Yeah.
Boy, why you sitting there looking sad? There's other girls out there. Dang, 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 dang. They had that. Then they had Never Gonna Give You Up. Then they had Western Union, man.
Wow.
Then they had Never Gonna Give You Up. They had record at the record. After Never Gonna Give You Up, both of the Jerry Butler albums went gold. Then they had this record called with Wilson Pickett, Don't Let the Green Grass Fool You. Engine 99. They had Dusty Springfield, Brand New Me.
Wow. Now, was Melvin and the Blue Notes under Philly International?
Yeah. Then they had this record called Drowning in the Sea of Love. Mm-hmm. But when they had Gamble Records, remember that movie, Cadillac Records? About chess records with that Beyonce played Etta James in?
Yeah.
Well, they were the Chess Brothers. They gave Kenny a distribution deal. So Kenny had another label called Neptune, which was the original Philly International.
Wow. It
would say Neptune Records, Philadelphia, the sound of Philadelphia. And it would say TSOP. The Sound of Philadelphia, Neptune Records, The Sound of Philadelphia, Gamble and Huff production on the records. And that's the early roster. They had the OJs, and they had like One Night Affair. They had the 3 Degrees. They had Billy Paul on that label.
Really?
Like Ebony Woman and all that good stuff.
Do you know that Billy Pierce?
I knew
Presley?
Billy Paul.
Billy
Paul. Me and Mrs. Jones.
Yeah,
I knew him very well. He was a great jazz singer. He hung out with Charlie Parker and training on him.
Really?
And he could sing bebop, blue. He's a bad cat, man.
Wow.
I played for him. He loved me.
Wow. So did you know Gamble and Huff?
Mm-hmm. Indirect. I mean, not like I can go up and say hi, hey Kenny, hey Leon,
Now,
I don't see him all the time.
Did your dad?
Oh,
do
my
anything?
dad grew up with gambling.
So did he do anything with Philly International?
No, they wanted him to really bad, but he didn't want to go with them because he wouldn't have as much freedom.
Gotcha.
If he went somewhere else. So, but I used to always see Gamble in the neighborhood when I worked in South Philly because he lives in that area, and I used to always see him and say, hey, man, you know,
Wow.
ask him what you working on, what's going on, you know, what's coming out,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. But Neptune lost their distributorship, so that records couldn't really move the way you want them to. But Gamble, when he was a teenager, he was signed by himself to CBS, Epic, and that was Clive Davis's branch of Epic.
Gotcha.
And him and Clive would always keep in touch and talk. And he was also signed with Atlantic because he had a great relationship with Atlantic Records because he was producing and getting hits on a lot of their artists. So CBS had an idea that they wanted to get into soul music thing.
Oh, wow.
So they gave him a distribution deal
Wow.
and an advance. Kenny wasn't supposed to make it. In them days, they were giving people like Barbra Streisand, Johnny Mathis, and Bruce Springsteen. They were getting advances like $2 million just to sign.
Wow.
Gamble on them was an experiment. They gave Gamble $200,000 up front.
Okay.
With that money, he had to record 4 albums and 15 singles. The singles were budgeted at $5,000,
Wow.
and the albums were budgeted at $4,000. The only reason why he was able to do that, because number one, he had MFSB, he had the musicians. They were already tight and recording, so they could drop a record like in half a second.
Wow.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's how tight they
Yeah.
were. He had the greatest arrangers. He had Bobby Martin and Tom Bell, so they could write the charts. The musicians always worked with those arrangers. He had the string section, Don Renato and all them guys, and he had the studio and the engineer, Joe Tasha, Sigma Sound. So when they went in, man, bang, hit.
It just hit.
So they went in and they did, the first album they did was for this Hawaiian guy named Dick Jensen. They did that record. Then the second record they did was for a group that Huff knew from Camden, the Ebonies. And they had 2 hits. Forever was the first one. I mean, All Because of You, I'm a Lucky Guy was the first hit. Then Forever, I'm Always Gonna Love.
Yeah.
That was the second hit. The third hit was the OJ's Backstabbers.
Wow.
The second hit was Love Train. Then the third hit is If You Don't Know Me By Now.
Wow.
You'll Never Know Me. Then the fourth hit was, the other hit was Me and Mrs. Jones.
Wow.
So Backstabbers went gold. Then Backstabbers went platinum after it went gold.
Wow.
Then If You Don't Know Me By Now went platinum, the single and the album. Then Me and Mrs. Jones went 6 times platinum with the album and 2 times platinum with the single. And then after that, came out. The Love I Lost. That went gold. And the album went gold, right? So the first year, man, they cleared like over $25 million in revenue.
Ooh.
And they thought that was going to be an experiment.
Wow.
So they wound up making, all through the 70s and early 80s,
They made a killer.
hit after hit after hit, killing after killing after killing. Then
They were still in Philly.
right. They never left Philly. They were matter of fact, they were across the street from us in Kappa on Broad Street, directly across the street.
Wow.
I used to go over there every day because he has nephews named Terrence and Terry from his brother Carl.
Are they still have Philly International?
No, man, it's a crying fucking shame, man. Because they own that building and the powers that be were jealous. Because, he has interest in the Kimmel Center, too.
Okay.
They were jealous because they independently owned that building. So they kept threatening them, like, you need to sell, you need to sell. Then they had some goon come in and put it on fire. Then they put it back, restored it, right?
So they were intimidated.
Yeah. And they had to sell it.
Wow.
And they sold it and they knocked it the fuck down.
Wow.
They knocked it the fuck down. So they don't even have a fucking plaque that says this is a historical landmark, the Sound of Philly. Now, they were getting ready to knock Sigma Sound down until the people in Nashville put all them guys in the Musicians Hall of Fame and put a big damn statue saying this is a historic landmark. They should have did that. Because, see, Philly International was historic 2 times. It was Cameo Parkway and it was Philly International. And they knocked it down. And every legend, Patti LaBelle, my father, anybody who's anybody out of here from the old school came out of that regiment.
Wow.
It would, Cameo Parkway into the Sigma Sound era.
Wow. Crazy.
And they knocked all their history down. And they wonder why kids going around shooting and doing dumb shit because they don't know that they got history. Yeah. Nobody makes it a tourist attraction to see Paul Robeson's and Marian Anderson and John Coltrane's houses.
Yeah, yeah.
And show what they gave to society. And we going around on some dumb shit. But other folks come like, damn.
It's my city.
Train really lived here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a disappointment.
Yeah. So what is the Philly, like when I graduated high school in '87, came here to the Washington D.C. metropolitan area, and I've kind of pretty much been here over 30 years. What's the scene, the music scene like in Philly now?
Philly has a lot of neo soul open mics and shows. Like they'll get like 5 acts and they'll do a whole night. And I mean, it's polished.
Really?
Mic'd up.
A lot of people come out?
Yeah, lit up, mic'd up. Not now because of post-COVID.
Before.
But lights, stage, camera, action, top cuisine.
Wow. What about the jazz scene?
The jazz scene is starting to come back.
Okay.
But
we always producing bad musicians.
But jazz scene now, they do a lot of what do you call that? Computer thing.
Okay.
Podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they do a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But there's a couple of places that are open, and all the diehards come get together and they play. Like Chris's Jazz, they have a lot of things going on there. Wow. And the Jazz Guild.
Now, I was talking to you the other day, I think it was last week, and you told me you got to meet Charlie Mingus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jazz, bassist Charlie Mingus.
He came to a jazz festival. I met him, Art Blakey, Dizzy Gillespie, Terry Lynn Carrington, and Max Roach all that night. And the Sugar Man. Mm-hmm. What's his name? You know who the Sugar Man is, tenor player. He used to be married to Shirley Scott.
Not Stanley
Turrentine. I met him.
Yeah.
And Curtis Fuller, the trombone player.
Yeah.
I met all them guys that night.
Wow.
And man, he was this big, robust dude.
Uh-huh.
And man, I see where Stanley Clark gets his animation and his whole thing from. Stanley Clark, man, is like Charlie Mingus reincarnated.
Yeah. Did you know Charles Fambro?
Big time. Charles Brambro was my father's bass player.
Really?
I knew Charles. Look, I remember when Charles used to play with my dad, and he hooked him up with Grover. Charles and John Bleak, the violinist.
Yeah. I knew
What a
John.
lot of people don't know, he was also a working player.
Okay.
And they was in my dad's band. And Charles used to be real laid back and quiet.
Yeah.
And I hung with him, and I met Bradford and Went Marsalis through Charles, because they were all playing in Art Blakey's band.
Yeah.
And when they came to town, we all hung.
Yeah. Wow. Man, bruh. You've been
I'll never forget the time me, Charles Frambo, Rob Landon, and Jeff Tain Watts hung out and Webb Thomas. Man, that was a crazy ass night, because Charles' car was down, so Rob drove us all around. And to see Tain and Charles go back at each other, busting each other.
They were busting each other?
Man, he would call Charles Framble, remember the game you get for Christmas? Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, Charlie, Mr. Potato Head. And he would call Tain Webster. Because he had that Webster. Webster face look. And
Oh, God, that's funny.
they would, and he would bust on Webb.
Wow. That's funny.
And they wouldn't bust on me. And they wouldn't bust on Rob.
Yeah.
No, he would bust on Rob. Man, you need to sew that button on your fucking coat, man. What's wrong with you?
Oh, man. Man, so
Yeah.
we coming towards the end, but before we do, I want to talk about your recording that you've been working. You've been working on a recording, right?
I've been working on the songs of the key of every damn thing.
Yeah.
And
How's that going?
a little slow,
Okay.
because I don't always have the finance to get the cats I want on it, or
And you're pretty much a perfectionist, aren't you?
to a degree, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear what I want to hear.
Yeah. You have all the songs down, right?
All the material was done.
Okay.
I just got to get the cast. See, music, what makes good music and a good record and a good story is the cast.
It's the cash?
The cast.
Oh, the cast. Okay.
The cast tells the story.
Okay.
You got to have the story told.
Yeah.
And I want my story told the way I want it told.
Gotcha.
The way I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
I want them to feel what I felt.
Yeah. But the world gets to see your production side, your songwriting, and your musical vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they gonna be ready for it when it drops?
Yeah. They're going to be ready for it, because we done got so much punk bullshit that they starving for something with substance.
Yeah.
People need substance. They need the spirit back. We need the spirit back.
Yeah.
The substance back.
Yeah. And in today's music, like, what would you tell young people? Because you taught young people.
Well, I tell young kids, much as you learn the music, learn the business as well.
Gotcha.
Learn how it operates. Learn how it operates. Learn how politics operate. Learn how people hear. Learn how they think, because people hear with their eyes too.
Okay.
Learn what they, want. Learn what learn what applies and relates to their lives as well.
Gotcha.
And you could do that at any age and genre.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I meant to ask you, what drummer had the biggest influence on you, would you say? Impact on you?
Impact.
Huh?
Let me see. It's two.
Okay.
I don't want to offend nobody, because I love too many people.
Yeah.
But In the commercial world, I can't talk about that. I can't say that. But in the jazz world, Elvin Jones.
Elvin?
Elvin.
What was it about?
Know why I like Elvin?
Why?
Elvin was jazz. Elvin was R&B. And Elvin was rock and roll.
Wow. You hear all that in this playing?
Yeah. And a lot of people, I can prove it.
Uh-huh.
Listen to a John Coltrane album with Elvin McCoy and Jimmy Garrison. Mm-hmm. That ain't nothing but fucking R&B.
Wow.
The way they vibe on a groove and ride on it with a mode, it's fucking R&B.
You know, you're the cat that turned me on.
And that's my favorite things.
You turned me on the train.
Yeah, my favorite things, man.
Yeah, that's the album you get.
That's the mode, man.
Yeah, you gave
that's
me that.
The groove.
I remember that album.
Like, if you listen to like Live at Birdland, The Promise. Boom, man, that's motherfucking rock and roll.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you listen to A Love Supreme, listen to the live version of Live in Seattle. That's straight up motherfucking heavy metal rock and roll, cuz.
Wow. Yeah.
It's rock and roll. And Elvin combined Afro-Cuban and all that in the one drum style.
Wow.
That's why he's my favorite. And Elvin, out of all the drummers, for the exception of Art Blakey, is the closest to the African groove and spirit.
Wow.
Elvin got that Africana.
Really?
Kemet.
Yeah.
Elvin got the Kemet Egyptian thing, not African.
Who's your favorite? What young drummer impresses you a lot?
Young drummer?
Yeah.
I like his name is we call him Briz, BFM, Brian Fraser Moore.
Okay.
I like him. And I also like what Little John Roberts is doing.
For Philly?
Yeah, I like him.
Cool.
Because both of them are very musical. They can do this shit, but
yeah,
that's first. Mm-hmm. And I like.
And what do you listen for when you listen to a drummer? Like, what do you?
I listen to groove.
I
listen to musicality, dynamics, and tempo.
They say that's why Grady Tate worked a lot.
Grady Tate worked all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Because
I met him.
Yeah, I knew Grady Tate
when I was in Berkeley.
Yeah,
he came and did. Him and Warwick Carter were real cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say because he played this. You know, he played with the
music. Him and Bernard Purdy, man, they were the most working this cats. And another guy that was on that level in Los Angeles that did all the records, rock and roll records, big band show, Mike Sancton, cat named Earl Palmer.
Earl Palmer?
Earl Palmer did all the sessions.
Wow. That's up, man. All right, man. But anyway, I wanted you the one that turned me on the train. Mm-hmm. It was my favorite thing. I couldn't hear it back then, but because I was in the Bird, and I was into those old low
Bebop.
Fidelity
Bebop.
Where they were taping. You know, when somebody taped.
Yeah, but Train was taping with
when you gave me that,
he was taping with
Rudy
Jerry Wexler and
okay.
Jerry Wexler up at Atlantic Records.
Okay.
At that time.
When you gave me that
Atlantic, my favorite things,
man,
with that
I
soprano.
couldn't hear it. It was too pristine for me at the time, but I caught up to it, and you the cat that turned me on the John Coltrane. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank Rob Landon. He turned me on to John Coltrane.
All right. As a final questions, what is it like being a husband, father, and a grandfather?
And a great-grandfather.
You a great-grandfather too? Oh, boy.
I have a 6-month-old great-granddaughter named Kaylani who I can see going to manipulate the hell out of me in the near future. Because she looks exactly like my wife.
Wow.
Twins.
Wow.
Scary. What is it like? A scale balancing.
Huh?
A balancing act. It's like walking on these prosthetics. It's like walking on stilts.
Wow.
Because you got to handle everything. When you don't want to.
Uh-huh. Do they give you love?
Yeah. That's what being a man is not what you say, it's what you do. And being a man is doing things that you feel like you can't do, that you don't want to do, but you have to do. That's marriage and family and being a man.
Yeah. Well, I always ask you this, man. When
And
you
sacrificing yourself.
Yeah.
It ain't about you.
Yeah.
It's about everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't count. The man don't count, right?
You don't even get the fucking big piece of chicken. They eat that motherfucker. Oh, Lord, get a pork chop and the wing soda syrup. I need to fuck the damn dinner.
Oh, wow. So, man, with all the, I always tell you this, man. You need to write a book.
I am.
You need to write a book.
But
man.
right now, I could get assassinated for it, so I got to chill for
I got you. What's next for Eddie Holman?
Well, you know what I did? Jamal Adeem is writing a book, writing something, and I gave him.
Let's
some
talk
things.
about Jamal. I didn't mention.
Yeah, I gave some things. I used to play for him a lot.
Really?
But I gave some things to him.
Uh-huh.
You know, as far as information.
Jamal Dean Takuma.
Yeah, as far as information and history, man. He was really glad about it.
How's he doing, man?
He's doing great.
Yeah, he's always.
I always call him Mr. Fly Guy.
Yeah, he's always dressed up and always been a positive, warm
Oh,
cat.
always, man.
Is he the same? 'Cause I haven't seen him in years.
Never changed.
Really?
Never changed.
Always been a beautiful cat, man. Shout out, brother Jamal. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So what's next for Eddie Holman?
I would like to, get this label distribution thing squared away, make some money, start a movie studio like Tyler did, get a bunch of land to tell our old stories from ancient times up to the jazz, bebop, and to the current.
Gotcha.
Tell our stories and put positive images of our people on screen where our children can take pride in who they are.
No doubt.
I would like to start trucking distribution companies. I would like to start grocery chains to have our food distribute in our communities, in our stores. I want farms to grow our own food independently, organically, our own music, our own entertainment. I want to get this basketball, Atlanta and Potomac white bullshit out of our sisters' heads and put some more positive shit on it that they can watch and get all that motherfucking poison out. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to get our own engineers, doctors, biologists, teachers, and scientists in schools, build our own medicines and healings and build our own products and be independent without being tortured and imitated. We could be somewhere, but let us have our section. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Let us find our own shit. Mm-hmm. We ain't asking you for nothing. Mm-hmm. Let us, like James Brown said, open up the door. I get it myself.
Yeah.
Let us have our own shit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm at the point now, it's coming to the point, it ain't gonna be get.
Yeah.
Get your own shit. And don't let nobody have you have something. Only the way to have something is two ways. Either to take it or get it. And if you take it, they're gonna put your ass in jail. So go get your shit.
Wow. That's a whole lot right there, my brother. Mm-hmm. Any way people can get in contact with you if they want to get in contact?
Yes.
You can look at the camera.
They can
and tell the people.
They can go to the internet. Wait.
Facebook.
Where they can go to SCOOCHBUG @gmail.com.
What's that?
email.
Oh, email. Okay.
You can go to the internet to the email. Then you can go to EDDIELLEL_HOLMAN Facebook. I'm the third. Eddie L. Holman, Roman numeral 3 to Facebook. And you can request a friendship or send me a message. And I'll get back to you. And I'll let you know what's going on.
Yeah. Any closing words you got? Anything you want to say before we roll out?
People generally put roadblocks in your way and envy you because they see something in you that's trying to get that's going somewhere. Don't let people put your light out because their light ain't shining. Because their light ain't gonna shine putting your light out. Don't let don't let spiritual people religious people try to bully you, especially church people. That's not God's will. God told me that you supposed to be that's a crock of bullshit. Don't let nobody tell you what God got for you. God will let you know what he got for you, not some other knucklehead. Let's get that straight. Mm-hmm. All right? Don't let somebody psych you out of your blessing because they want it. You know, that's the psych treatment. They get you not to do it so they can go grab your shit.
Yeah.
Don't do it, homie. Believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. No one is going to believe in you unless you believe in yourself.
Exactly.
No one is going to do more for your hustle than you do for your hustle. Understand that from the back. Mm-hmm. Your hustle is your hustle, and you hustle it.
Exactly.
Another situation is don't let guilt make you feel like you shouldn't do something. Because that's what these church people, they do in guilt. See, in order to make somebody a Christian, right, you got to make them feel guilty or something like they need a savior. You don't need a savior because the savior couldn't save himself. Mm-hmm. So I ain't going to save you. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you don't let guilt or lack of being deserving of something, because that'll stop you. Mm-hmm. And fear. See, the way religion and the devil work is fear. They make you scared and make you need to depend on something. You don't need to depend on nothing but the Most High in yourself, because God is in you. You are God. You are a form of God. He's in you.
Yes, sir.
If he can be in Jesus, why can't he be in you?
Come on.
If he historically existed. And in civilization, we come from the same people. So why can't we have the same thing? See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't let nobody tell you something. Go research. Because I can research and prove everything I come out my mouth. First of all.
Yeah.
So I ain't got to tell lies to cover up lies, to psych people. I can tell you the truth. Take it or leave it. Research it, you don't.
Which, you remind me of this quote. You ever heard of crabs in the barrel?
Oh, yeah.
I coined a term called crabs out the barrel.
Crabs out the barrel.
Those are the crabs that get out the barrel and try to keep the lid closed so you can't get out.
Exactly.
So you got crabs in the barrel and you got crabs out the barrel.
Don't let nobody intimidate you. Do what you believe and do what you're passionate about. And don't think it's going to come overnight.
Come on, talk to him.
You know, you got to put some work in.
Talk to him.
You got to put some sweat
and
pain. You got to get seasoned. You need a little salt poured on you.
Yes, sir.
And you do that, and you honor your commitment. The Most High will honor his commitment and take care of what need to be taken care of that you can't take care of.
Brother.
And that's all I have to tell you.
Man.
And read. Anything you want to know about, read about it, research about it, especially the music business. Know them contracts so your ass ain't going back to the plantation again. That's basically what it is.
Yes.
A bank plantation.
Brother Eddie, man, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. This is an honor for me, man, because, you know, number one, I like the fact how real you are. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I ain't gonna be fun. See, a lot of these kids, a lot of our sisters, the media is phony with them. The media is phony with the kids. You know, like this House and the Housewife, that shit's too phony. Mm-hmm. You know, these MTV cribs is phony. Mm-hmm. These kids need to know the fucking truth. You don't own that fucking house. The fucking bank owns it. MTV own that house.
Yeah.
Fucking Atlanta own that house. You don't own shit. You don't own shit. You don't even own the goddamn weave in your fucking house.
Ain't going in, y'all. Hey, man.
You don't own them fake jewelry in them nails and shit, man.
Man, this is I feel like this is we making history right here, man, because, man.
I just want the truth to be told.
Yeah.
And I want us to live in truth.
Yeah.
In peace.
Yeah.
And be who we were created to be and not what somebody else's idea of us to be.
No doubt.
That's all.
You heard it right here on A Conversation in Jazz. My homeboy, my big brother, we've been listening to the one and only Mr. Eddie Holman III. Shout out to Kappa, Creative and Performing Arts. Shout out to Philly. You know.
Shout out to Boston, Berkeley.
Yeah, all that.
Shout out Shout out to Howard.
Okay, all that. So, there you go. This is A Conversation in Jazz, and we'll see you on the next one.